Ever feel like building habits is a battle against yourself? You set big goals, work out daily, write that book, start that business, but by day 3, you're exhausted, guilty, and back to square one. Here's the truth. You're not lazy, you're just using the wrong strategy. What if I told you the secret to unstoppable habits isn't discipline, it's doing less? Introducing the 2-minute miracle, a lazy person's cheat code to building habits effortlessly. Stick around and I'll show you how to hack your brain, crush excuses, and make success inevitable even if you hate hard work. Ready? Let's dive in. Picture this. You wake up with grand plans to change your life, exercise daily, read more, finally start that side hustle. But by noon, you're already exhausted, scrolling through your phone thinking maybe tomorrow. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Most people fail at building habits because they think it takes massive willpower and hours of effort. But what if I told you the secret to success isn't discipline, it's laziness? That's right. The key to unstoppable habits is doing less, not more. Introducing the 2-minute miracle, a game-changing method that leverages the power of tiny actions to create big results. Instead of forcing yourself to run 5 miles, you start with putting on your sneakers. Instead of reading 50 pages, you read 1. These micro habits trick your brain into taking action without resistance, making success inevitable. Science backs this up. Studies show that habits form not through motivation, but through repetition, starting so small it feels impossible to fail. The 2-minute miracle takes advantage of this by stripping away excuses. Too tired, too busy, too lazy. Doesn't matter because anyone can spare 2 minutes. And those 2 minutes, they're the spark that ignites a lifetime of progress. So if you're tired of starting over, tired of feeling stuck, and ready to build habits effortlessly, this is your wake-up call. The 2-minute miracle isn't just a strategy, it's a revolution. And today, you're going to learn how to make it work for you. Let's talk about why most people fail at building habits. Not because they lack discipline, but because they've been sold a lie. We've been told that success requires monumental effort, ironclad willpower, and relentless motivation. But here's the truth. That approach is designed to make you quit. Think about it. How many times have you set a big, ambitious goal, like working out for an hour a day or writing a novel, only to burn out within a week? That's not your fault. It's the fault of a system that ignores how human brains actually work. The first killer of habits, overwhelm. When you stare at a massive goal, your brain panics. It's like looking up at a mountain and being told to leap to the summit in one bound. So what happens? You procrastinate, you make excuses, and eventually you give up. And it's not because you're lazy, it's because your brain is wired to resist sudden drastic change. Then there's motivation, the most unreliable teammate you could ever rely on. Motivation is fleeting. It shows up like a burst of fireworks, dazzling but gone in seconds. If you wait for motivation to strike before taking action, you'll be waiting forever. Then there's the all or nothing trap. The belief that if you can't do something perfectly, you shouldn't do it at all. Miss one workout? Might as well quit the gym. Skip 1 day of writing? The book is doomed. This mindset turns small stumbles into total failures, when in reality, progress isn't a straight line. It's a messy, imperfect climb. The irony? The people who succeed aren't the ones who never slip up. They're the ones who keep going despite the slip-ups. And let's debunk the biggest myth of all, willpower. We've been taught that willpower is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But science says otherwise. Willpower is more like a battery that drains with every decision you make. By the end of the day, when you're tired and drained, that battery is empty. So if your habit relies on willpower, you're setting yourself up for failure. But here's the twist. Your so-called laziness isn't a weakness, it's your cheat code. Laziness is just your brain's way of demanding efficiency. It doesn't want to waste energy on unnecessary struggle. So instead of fighting it, use it. The smartest habit builders don't rely on motivation or willpower. They design habits so easy that even on their laziest day, they can't say no. That's the secret. Stop trying to be a hero. Start being strategic. Build habits so small they feel like nothing because those tiny actions are the seeds of unstoppable change. Let's dive into why the 2-minute miracle works so well, and it all comes down to how your brain is wired. Every habit you've ever formed, good or bad, follows the same neurological blueprint. When you repeat a behavior, your brain creates neural pathways, like mental shortcuts that make the action easier over time. The key isn't intensity, it's repetition. Micro actions are so effective because they bypass resistance. Your brain doesn't panic at the thought of 2 minutes. It doesn't trigger procrastination or fear. Instead, it thinks, I can handle that, and before you know it, you've taken the first step. And that first step, it's the most important one because action fuels motivation, not the other way around. This is where the domino effect comes in. Small wins create momentum. When you commit to a 2-minute task and complete it, you trigger a sense of accomplishment. Your brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical, which makes you want to repeat the behavior. Over time, those tiny actions stack up. 2 minutes of stretching becomes 5, then 10. 1 paragraph of writing turns into a page, then a chapter. It's not magic, it's compound growth. You're not relying on willpower. You're engineering success by making progress inevitable. Take James Clear's Atomic Habits. The entire book is built on the principle that tiny changes lead to remarkable results. Clear didn't just theorize this, he lived it. After a serious injury in high school, he rebuilt his health and later his career through small, consistent actions. His famous 1% better every day philosophy proves that you don't need massive leaps to transform, you just need to show up in small ways repeatedly. Then there's Jerry Seinfeld's don't break the chain method. When Seinfeld was honing his comedy skills, he committed to writing jokes every single day. He marked an X on his calendar for each day he wrote, and soon the chain of X's became motivation itself. He wasn't focused on writing a masterpiece daily, just on not breaking the chain. These examples reveal the same truth. Success isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up in a way that feels effortless. The 2-minute miracle leverages this by making the starting point so simple that failure is practically impossible. You're not fighting your brain's natural tendencies. You're working with them. Every time you complete that tiny action, you're reinforcing the habit loop. Cue, routine, reward. Over time, the behavior becomes automatic. That's how you build habits that stick. Not through force, but through consistency. So easy it feels like cheating. The science is clear. Small steps aren't a compromise. They're the secret weapon of people who know how to win. Here's how to put the 2-minute rule into action, and why this method feels almost too easy to work until you try it. First, take whatever grand ambition you have and shrink it down to something microscopic. Want to get fit? Your goal isn't work out for an hour. It's put on my running shoes. Dream of writing a book? Forget about daily chapters, start with open my laptop. This isn't about lowering standards, it's about hacking your brain's resistance system. By making the first step ridiculously simple, you remove all the psychological barriers that normally stop you before you begin. The magic happens in the laughable simplicity of your 2-minute version. If you can't do it while half asleep or in the middle of a busy day, it's not simple enough. Flossing 1 tooth, reading 1 paragraph, doing 2 push-ups, these might sound like jokes, but that's exactly the point. When something feels trivial, you'll actually do it. And doing something, no matter how small, is infinitely more powerful than planning something big that never happens. The key is to define your 2-minute version so clearly that there's zero ambiguity about what done looks like. Here's where most people mess up. They skip the celebration. When you finish those 2 minutes, you need to literally pat yourself on the back, do a little dance, or say, hell yes out loud. This isn't childish, it's neuroscience. Your brain needs that immediate reward to associate the action with positive feelings. Over time, this creates an automatic craving for that tiny win. Think of it like training a puppy. You wouldn't wait an hour to give the treat after it follows a command. The instant celebration rewires your brain to want to repeat the behavior. Expansion happens naturally, but never by force. After a week of putting on your running shoes daily, you might find yourself thinking, well, I'm already dressed, might as well jog to the end of the street. That's when you know you're ready. For slightly more, but only if it feels effortless. If adding more time or effort makes you resistant again, drop back down. The 2-minute rule isn't a stepping stone to bigger habits, it's the foundation. Some days you'll do more, some days you won't, but you'll always do the minimum. That consistency, no matter how small, is what creates unstoppable momentum over time. The beautiful paradox: by focusing on staying small, you'll naturally grow bigger than you ever could through force. Let's tackle the excuses that sabotage your progress. Because let's be honest, we've all used them. The most common one: I don't have time. But here's the reality check. If you can't spare 2 minutes, the problem isn't your schedule, it's your priorities. Everyone has 120 seconds. You spend more time than that scrolling through your phone or staring into the fridge. The 2-minute rule forces you to confront the truth. You're not lacking time. You're lacking a system that works with your life, not against it. When something takes virtually no time, the excuse evaporates. Try it right now. Whatever habit you've been putting off, do it for 2 minutes. See, you had time after all. Then there's the "I'm too tired" defense. Newsflash, you'll always be tired some days. Waiting for perfect conditions is like waiting for a unicorn to show up. It's never happening. But here's the secret: action creates energy, not the other way around. You don't need motivation to start, you need to start to get motivated. The moment you begin that tiny 2-minute task, something magical happens. Your brain shifts from resistance to engagement. 1 push-up turns into 5. Opening a document leads to writing a sentence, then a paragraph. Momentum is the antidote to exhaustion. The hardest part isn't the work, it's the starting. Master that and fatigue stops being a roadblock. Now let's talk about slip-ups, because they will happen. You'll miss a day, maybe 2. The difference between people who succeed and those who quit isn't perfection, it's how fast they recover. Enter the 3-day rule. Never let a skip turn into a streak. If you miss 1 day, no big deal. 2 days. Notice the pattern, but don't panic. 3 days, that's your red alert, the point where a pause risks becoming a full relapse. The solution isn't guilt or overcompensation, it's simply returning to your 2-minute habit immediately. No drama, no self-punishment, just reset the clock. Consistency isn't about never failing, it's about never staying down. Think of it like a game. Your job isn't to avoid ever losing a point, but to keep playing no matter what. The beauty of this system: it turns your biggest excuses into non-issues. No time? 2 minutes exists. Too tired. Starting creates energy. Fell off track? 3 days is your reset button. These aren't workarounds. They're the framework for bulletproof habits. The moment you stop seeing obstacles and start seeing 2-minute solutions, you become unstoppable. Because when you strip away all the drama around habit building, what remains is simple. Tiny actions, repeated consistently with no room for negotiation. That's how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results, not by being perfect, but by being persistent in the smallest, smartest way possible. Let me show you what the 2-minute miracle looks like in real life, because nothing proves its power like ordinary people achieving extraordinary results. Take Sarah, a self-proclaimed couch potato who couldn't jog to her mailbox without getting winded. Her marathon dream seemed laughable until she started with just 2 minutes of walking each day. That's it. No gym membership, no expensive gear, just 2 minutes around her living room. Some days she'd walk longer when she felt like it, but she never missed her minimum. 18 months later, she crossed the finish line of her first marathon. The secret wasn't training harder. It was never letting a single day pass without doing something, no matter how small. Then there's Michael, who dreamed of writing a novel but couldn't find the time or inspiration. Instead of waiting for the perfect writing session, he committed to writing just 1 sentence each day. Some days that's all he did. Other days that single sentence turned into pages. But the daily act of showing up, even if just for a few words, kept the story alive in his mind. 2 years later, he held his published book in his hands. Those daily sentences added up to 80,000 words. This is the magic of micro actions. They don't feel like work in the moment, but over time, they compound into something remarkable. In the business world, the 2-minute rule separates the dreamers from the doers. Consider Lisa, who built a 7-figure consulting business by committing to 1 tiny business action daily, whether it was sending a single email, making 1 follow-up call, or jotting down 3 ideas. On busy days when she wanted to quit, she'd do just the minimum. But those micro actions kept her business growing even when motivation was low. Meanwhile, her competitors who waited for perfect work days kept falling behind. The lesson: small daily actions create unstoppable momentum. In fitness, in creativity, in business, in everything. These stories reveal the same truth. Massive success is just small actions repeated consistently. The marathon runner started with 2-minute walks. The author began with single sentences. The entrepreneur built an empire, one tiny action at a time. None of them relied on willpower or perfect conditions. They simply honored their 2-minute commitment every single day. That's the hidden power of this approach. It doesn't just help you start, it helps you continue when life gets messy. Because when your minimum is laughably small, you'll keep going when others quit. That's how ordinary people create extraordinary results, not through heroic efforts, but through tiny daily acts of showing up. The proof isn't in the theory, it's in the people living the results right now. And soon it'll be in your story too. Let's be real, you are lazy. And that's good news. Because laziness isn't your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. It shows you the path of least resistance, the way to win without the struggle. The 2-minute miracle isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's about making success so easy that failure becomes impossible. So here's your challenge. Pick one habit today, just one. Break it down into 2 stupidly simple minutes, and then do it. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, right now. Because the life you want isn't built in grand gestures, it's built in tiny, unmissable moments. This is your turning point. 2 minutes at a time, you will transform. 2 minutes at a time, you will outwork, outlast, and outperform everyone waiting for motivation to strike. The miracle isn't in the effort, it's in the start. So what are you waiting for? Your 2 minutes begin now. Don't let another day slip by wishing you'd started yesterday. Your future self is begging you, take the first tiny step. The clock is ticking. Go. Ever feel like building habits is a battle against yourself? So here's your wake-up call. That book won't write itself. That business won't build itself. That dream body won't magically appear. But now, you hold the cheat code. Not willpower, not motivation. Just 2 stupid minutes. The next time resistance whispers, not today, laugh at it. Put on your shoes, open the document, take that first micro step. Because here's the secret. The miracle isn't in the effort, it's in the start. Your future self is begging you, don't let them down. Hit pause right now, go do your first 2 minutes. Then come back and tell me in the comments. What tiny win will you celebrate today? Remember, small steps aren't a compromise, they're your secret weapon. Now get out there and make laziness proud.